Summer shirt today, still the same hair from 3 months ago. Today we're going to be looking through a cautionary tale of pushing your films in development. Hello guys, my name is John Sparkman, a photographer in the UK. In about 2014, I was approached by a local band where I used to live called Jim Lockie and the Solemn Sun, which are absolutely fantastic. You should definitely check them out. Now the guys wanted some new promotional pictures taken for their European tour, for their vinyl, which was pretty awesome. I'll show that just at the end. And they hit me up and they said, John, can you shoot some film for us? So I was like, sure, yeah, absolutely. I used to have the big medium format Hasselblad 500cm and my trusty old Nikon FM never steers me wrong. I grabbed 3 rolls of film and I thought, you know, Ilford 3200 is way too expensive, don't have any of it in my cupboard right now, so I kind of mixed and matched my films. But what I did, I pushed all of them. I shot on FP4, it's 125 ISO film. I shot on XP2, which is a 400 ISO color negative which produces black and whites. Then I shot on another FP4. Did it all in a studio down in Gloucester. So the FP4 rolls I actually use flash with, and you can see by looking straight through them, we've got these absolutely lovely dense negatives. So a huge contrast between the black and the whites. It's a good film. Same again with these, the 35mm, probably the same settings, right? But this XP2, I'm telling you, this is a 400 ISO film, and what I wanted to do is basically shoot the film at a higher ISO and then correct my underexposure in development. If you shoot a 400 film at 800 ISO, you're essentially putting half as much light as is needed onto the film. If you was just to develop that normally, you would have very faint, very dark pictures. What you can do in certain circumstances is push a film, so you can get this entirely underexposed film, put it in your development machine or your tanks or whatever, and overdevelop it. The absolute biggest myth is going in shooting a 400 ISO film at 800 and then pushing it means that you're going to just have a brighter picture overall. It absolutely does not do that. The number one rule of shooting negative film, if there isn't any information on the negative to start off with, overdeveloping it or pushing it, it's not going to do anything to recover that data. What it's going to do, it's going to kind of amplify and bring up the bits of information on the negative already. So your highlights and your midtones, they're going to get brighter, more contrast. But if there was no shadow detail to start off with, there will still be no shadow detail when you push your film. It might be easy if I kind of just show you on the Lightroom what we're doing, but just bear in mind this XP2 film I shot at 1600 ISO. So on screen we have those negatives in question, and although it looks nice and deep and dark and stuff, we just pop straight into the develop module and press backspace. We can see, kind of looking at this detail here, there isn't much, is there? We've got this where we think it should be black, it's kind of a grey colour. So you have to kind of have a mess around with the contrast on this. So as you can see, I've dragged that contrast slider all the way to the right. I've actually had to dip it down a little bit just to kind of bring out the contrast on it. On this kind of picture, it looks pretty cool. Kind of gives a focus on the band members' faces, which is all we need. But you know, what happened if I wanted to have some detail down here? What happens if they were holding instruments? And I was trying to be all arty and over the top and pushing films, and I get nothing. There is absolutely zero on the negative on that picture. So, you know, what would there be? I'd be absolutely without a paddle. Fortunately, I was using different films, different types of film, different techniques of shooting. We can see that the ones lit with flash were absolutely fine. And they had a real nice kind of resolution to them, and just a plain background. Whenever I bought film back in 2014, it was generally expired, so you have to bring back a little bit of that contrast. Don't let anyone tell you you can't adjust your pictures afterwards in Lightroom. You're just getting them back to where they were, you know. So super quick infomercial on the dangers of pushing film. You can't treat film like a sensor on a digital camera, just upping the exposure and then compensating with some kind of post-processing. It doesn't do the same thing as just raising the ISO on a digital camera. If you don't capture the detail when you first take the shot, pushing it is not going to bring them back. If you have caught the detail, highlights, midtones, that's going to get nice and contrasty. The whites are going to appear whiter, as if they were shot at a high ISO. But if it was black to start off with, it's still going to be black. This is one of the vinyls that I have kept in its box for the entirety of it. Not my picture on the front, but happy with this one. There we go. That's the absolute finished article, and it turned out all right. That is a nice, good-looking vinyl. And I'm so happy that, you know, my pictures have been printed commercially. You know, it couldn't have been to nicer guys, and it's good to keep, even back in 2014, it's good to keep film alive. If you like the content, you want to see more of it, stick around, consider subscribing. This is now the Analogue Wonderland you're in. And yeah, catch you in the next one. Bye.